Hi again. Same day recording, going on to part two of our pre-winter meetings, taking stock. This time we're talking about the American League. This time we'll start with the Central, since I know the East the best, and we started with the West for the National League. Start at the top going down because I started recording this and started from the bottom, and that didn't go too well. So we'll switch it up. Let's start with the Cleveland Guardians. Just yesterday, this is Saturday the 7th currently, they brought back Shane Bieber, 1 year, $15 million, something to that effect. Option for a second year. I think that's smart. That's how they operate. He takes a pay cut, potentially compared to what he might have gotten. I don't have too much to say about them. I think they'll end up trading Josh Naylor, which I get that. That's how they operate. Do I like it? Not necessarily, but they have Kyle Manzardo to fill in at first. Once Naylor's traded, they can bring something back. Makes some sense. I look at this from the perspective of what are the other teams in that division going to do, and will they, Cleveland that is, be able to retain that division title? I think there's a good chance. Going on, the next their main competition I see is the Royals, who in a way came out of nowhere this past year, 2024, to make a playoff appearance, beat my Orioles. It happens. I think the question with them is, will they continue to invest? What will they invest in? Probably offense, maybe a pitcher, since they traded Brady Singer, brought back Michael Wacha, have Cole Reagan, Seth Lugo, pretty solid bullpen. Maybe put, I think it's Bubich, maybe make him a starter again, something like that. That's an idea. I'm not that well versed on them. They have Bobby Witt, now have Jonathan India due to that Brady Singer trade. They'll be competitive. They have Carter Jensen, Blake Walters, I think his name is, and my boy Jack Caglione coming through. I don't expect any of them to do anything. None of those guys are ready, but got some guys. Pasquantino, hopefully he'll be back for the full season. Hopefully he'll stay healthy. Make some other additions. To have Yuli Gurriel hitting like 4th or 5th, you weren't ever really going to beat the Yankees there. It happens. Next, going down, Detroit Tigers. I've always kind of liked the Tigers, but the question is, are they going to spend money? They used to spend money, but the owner died, and now his son, who's now the owner, he doesn't like to spend money. They have one of the lowest payrolls, and honestly, 2 of those deals on said payroll are bad deals. So in a sense, I do get why he acts that way. Speaking of Javi Baez and Kenta Maeda there. But when you have so many young, talented guys, obviously Skubal, Carpenter, etc., just spend some money, man. Just spend some money. It's not that hard. You guys are billionaires. Going further down, and the last one, we'll just briefly talk about them, but the Minnesota Twins are next. I think what do I think about them? I think they're one of these weird teams that could easily sell off a lot of their assets, big contracts, and just reset. They have Walker Jenkins coming through, have some solid pitching, but I just don't know. I mean, they had that collapse once they stopped playing the Central teams, mainly the White Sox, and missed the playoffs in embarrassing fashion. They have 3 injury-prone hitters: Buxton, Correa, Lewis. Who knows if one or any of them, who knows if any kind of combination will play X amount of games per season. That's a huge risk. 2 of them are on big contracts. If there is huge interest and you could get a good return, I would consider that. But again, a lot of these teams don't think rationally from a certain perspective, at least from the way I see it. Because again, the problem with the Twins is they were behind 3 teams in that division. Obviously, the other team is terrible, so it is kind of unfair in a sense, but are you really going to overcome all of that? Are you going to hold off the teams in the West outside of who wins that one? And are you going to hold off the East, which is a better division? I don't see it. The ownership is being cheap. They're looking to sell. I would personally, I don't think they're competing, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. They could come back. The pitching is great. Those guys stay healthy. They make the playoffs, make me look stupid. That's fine. I mean, I like the Twins. They're cool. White Sox, not much to say about them. Trade Crochet, trade Robert, be bad for a few more years. Have your guys come through the system. Caro, Montgomery, whoever they get in these trades. Schultz, Smith, etc. Not much to say about them. Going out west, start from the bottom. I look at the A's and Angels. I don't see them doing anything. They're pretty bad. The Angels are doing this weird thing that certain teams do here and there of bringing in guys who in a different time would be really good, like Kyle Hendricks, who was washed, and the Cubs couldn't wait to get rid of him. I don't really understand that. Kikuchi, I'm not sure what they expect him to be, but if they expect a number 1 or 2, I think they'll be disappointed. So there's that. Not much to say about them. Oakland, or not even Oakland. They're not in Oakland anymore. The A's signed Severino. That's probably going to be it for them. They're going to be at the bottom again. May well trade Brent Rooker or Mason. Probably not Mason Miller because he has a lot of years left, but Brent Rooker could well be moved. That might be smart if you can get a big package, and he's getting older anyway and doesn't play the field. I like him, though. I really like him. He's good. After that, the Rangers had that World Series hangover. Really just got to see what they do with pitching and the bullpen. The lineup's good. My guy, Kyle Seager. Sorry, did I say Kyle? My goodness. Corey. What am I saying? See, this happens when you go running and your brain's kind of at a higher gear than earlier. You just start saying stuff. Anyway, Corey Seager. That's better. Marcus Semien. Nathaniel Lowe. Wyatt Langford is pretty solid first 4 there. We'll see if they bring back Eovaldi or make some other splash pitching-wise. See what they do with the bullpen. Yates, free agent. Because of the money, I think they'll find ways to be competitive. Probably won't overtake the other 2 up there. Speaking of the other 2, we've got the Mariners. I've mentioned money a number of times here. What are they doing? Spend some money, man. It's ridiculous. So their 3 options are continue to not have an offense, trade away prospects, or trade away pitching. Or obviously spend money, but are they going to do that? I don't think so. I don't think if I were to trade a pitcher, I would go in order Castillo, Wu, Gilbert, Miller, Kirby. That's what I would say. From preferred to least preferred. Simply because Wu has injury concerns, although if you can correct that, you obviously wouldn't trade him because he's controllable for years. Castillo's making a lot of money, so obviously he's number 1. And then Gilbert is the best of them, at least was in 2024, has the second longest track record and is affordable. Like I said, with Castillo, he makes a lot of money. It's that simple. They are cheap. They have prospects, Cole Young, Colt Emerson, Las Montes, Ty Pete, Harry Ford, Logan Evans. I'm just naming guys that I remember. Celestin, or however you say his name. What was the other guy? Formello. So many guys. They're good. I haven't even mentioned Locklear, Emerson Hancock, which he's a bit of a meme in that community just because he's not at the level of the other guys. I don't know what they'll do. I'm kind of curious. I think they'll end up doing some trading. A lot of links to Nico Horner. Don't see Bellinger going there. I see him going to probably the Yankees, if not the Yankees in Houston maybe, if they want to have one last ride with that crew. Speaking of Houston, what a segue. Houston. So I have them listed as a contender on my little list here as I'm going over all these teams, but they are actually in a position, if the ownership is going to be cheap and they don't want to overspend on Bregman, which I understand that, the decline is entirely possible soon. I would consider blowing it up. You have both Valdez and Tucker on the last year of their deal. Don't bring back Bregman. The farm system sucks. So, to me, you'd think you pretty much have like Matthews, Melton, a couple others, some old guys. I mean, the farm system sucks. If you can trade Tucker and Valdez, bring in like 8 prospects or something like that, and maybe like 5 or 6 prospects and a couple more established guys who've made their debuts already. There's a number of teams that can use both those guys for a year that are competing. On the contrary, they are the best team in that division. You don't know if Seattle's going to spend money. You don't know if the Rangers are going to fix things. Both the A's and Angels are bad, so it's entirely possible to make the playoffs again, try and go for a run, bring back Bregman, fill out first base. If it happens to be going bad at the deadline, something crazy happens, so people get injured, performances just suffer, then you trade those guys off. Or you just lose them for nothing. That's a tough situation. Speaking of tough situations, moseying on over east to the Toronto Blue Jays, who finished up last place in the East. They're in a similar situation with Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, where they were 20 games behind the Yankees and 17 behind the Orioles. That's the difference. To me, yes, guys have their jobs on the line in the front office, but this is a perfect time. If you're not going to re-sign Vlad well before the season starts, trade him while his value is high, even if it is just a year left. And their farm system is not as bad as Houston's, but it's not good either. Just reset. Try and let Bo regain some value, trade him at the deadline, or just trade him out. Maybe you can package him. I don't know. Toss in Kevin Gausman. See if Kevin Gausman and Bo could go to Atlanta or something and get some guys back. Maybe, I don't know who you get back because they don't have the greatest farm system either, but it's just ideas. I mean, what other teams are there? There's plenty of teams that need pitching. Kevin Gausman could go somewhere. Chris Bassett has a year left. He'd make some good money, but he's solid. Could move him on. You have Bloss. You have Tiedemann. Manoah coming back from injury at some point. That's a whole discussion, Alek Manoah. But anyway, that's not the point. Just the point is, if you're not going to compete, I don't think they're getting Juan Soto. I still think he'll end up in New York, I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but hey. Hopefully we'll find out soon. I mentioned this in the last video, but just, dude, pick a team. Let this get going. No, everyone's tired of this. I don't think he's going to Toronto, though. I don't think, if Vlad was going to re-sign, I think he would have done it already. So just move him. New York, Arizona. A number of teams could use a first baseman. Houston. That'll be interesting. Houston, whatever they have left in their farm, just move for Vlad. Try to win a World Series in 2025. And then after that, what happens, happens. Moving up a little bit, Tampa. It's unfortunate with the stadium, but again, I don't look favorably on billionaire owners who don't spend money and just operate as if they're in poverty. It's pathetic. So, yeah, I'm not even going to mention the dude, but the dude who is or should be in jail, that's unfortunate. They actually did spend some money on him, but things happen. Who else we got? Yandy Diaz, Brendan Lau, saying that one right, yeah. Have a year left. Maybe we'll get moved. I think at least one of them has an option, but I could see them getting moved. They're going to be cheap. Fairbanks, Springs, pretty much anyone of value who's making money may well get moved. They're playing in a single A whatever stadium. I have zero sympathy for that team. I think they'll end up. What would be crazy is if they somehow end up in third, because say Boston doesn't spend money like they're being rumored to, and the Blue Jays blow it up or just continue to be bad like they were last year. That'll be funny, and end up trying to push for a playoff spot. That'll be hilarious. I don't think it'll happen though. Going up to Boston, they are in a weird spot in that they're improving kind of inherently simply because of the farm system. Roman Anthony in particular, also Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell, Kyle Teal. They have other guys as well, but it's those main four because they're all in AAA. Chase Mydroth as well. Infielder, underrated, doesn't get mentioned. Had really solid numbers, probably deserves a shot in the bigs coming up here in 2025. But their issues pitching, rotation, Giolito being unhealthy, the bullpen being not great. They signed Aroldis Chapman. I don't know about that in big 2024 going into 2025. Abreu, Duran, Devers. If Trevor Story can be somewhat healthy and productive, that's a huge boost. But you never know about that one. They've been rumored to look at Max Fried or trade for Crochet. I think that's smart. Not too much else to say about them. I don't think they're at Soto either. Going up to the Orioles. Again, I usually talk about the Orioles, so I'll just keep this brief. Who knows what they're going to do? I have limited expectations. I think they'll probably operate in the, let's try and outsmart people and not spend money and find value where there isn't any. And it'll end up in probably fighting for a wild card spot, which with this core, you're basically just wasting time with the core and digging into their coming up ARB years, where if you waste another year, Adley's an ARB 2, Gunner's an ARB 1, Kowser, Westberg are going to be coming up on their ARB